connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Trazer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Trazer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Trazer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Trazer.
At Fusion Sport, we're all about driving human performance. We develop and support a range of technologies all designed to assist people to be their best. SmarterBase is used by hundreds of elite sporting organisations across the globe, and more recently has been used by the military and performing arts as well.
Our SmarterBase technology has at the heart of it an integrated and connected philosophy. What's different about SmarterBase is that it's truly flexible and self-engineerable. That really puts the power into our customers' hands, and it allows them to use it in unique ways that perhaps we haven't even thought of.
Between ourselves and the rest of the field, but here comes Jemmy Stone.
What's going on, everybody? Man, Eric Wilson in for the Sports Arena here on a Monday night, the last Monday in August. Can we believe it? We are less than 2 weeks away from the start of the 2021-2022 NFL season. Thank God. Whew. Of course, I always want to give a shout out to everybody that you see above me here going across from Fusion Sports to Trazer to the National Scouting Combine, NFL Draft Bible, ASC 365, and my man, Rob Graphics, who continually just create such phenomenal work. I got a little teaser for you a little later on the show he created for me. I decided since we were doing all these different kinds of segments, I figured I'd throw a little mix in there and got my own little segment that I'm going to be starting pretty soon. But as they say, more to come on that one. Let me go ahead and get the crew in here. Of course, Fox Sports 1340 AM is in the building. Mr. John Shear is in here. What's up, John? How are you, brother?
Doing pretty well. I'm excited to talk a little bit of Dolphins football. We're going to talk that, I see. So that's obviously the best topic we can talk about because, I mean, the best team in the NFL. So might as well kick it off right.
All right. Fair enough. Let me go ahead and get Florida Sun and NSPN, Mr. Alex Fleming in the building joining us. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Just left work. You know I work a lot. I hate it when people beg and just keep asking and asking and asking. I don't think people understand that I'm actually busy, but I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate you, man. Mike Harrison-Nudo is going to be joining us, I'm sure, because I don't think there's any way he's going to let this show go by and not talk to John about his Miami Dolphins. Shout out to our girl, Megan Price. She is just, I think Megan decided to take a break from everybody and just kind of relax and do what she needed to do. And my man, Tyree, I mean, no disrespect to anybody on this panel, but that brother, husband, father, teacher, coach, I mean, his list is about as long as Alex's articles are sometimes. I'm like, damn, bruh, take a break. But before we get started, gentlemen, I know we talk sports here. This is a sports arena, but we would be remiss if we didn't do our due diligence and send our prayers and our positive vibes and our love to those in the New Orleans and Louisiana area. Apparently, Ida is just going to town, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe. There's love for everybody out there, and just know that we are sending positive vibes to y'all because we want y'all to be safe out there. And please, whatever the sports arena or any of us can do to kind of make your life a little bit easier, you know what? Send us a tweet if you can. Do what you can, but be safe. That's all I ask. Let me get Mike in here. He just joined us here. Good evening, Mike. What's going on, brother?
What up, man? Yes, you're talking about New Orleans, I'm guessing? Hurricane?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I don't get why. I mean, my daddy said all the time he never understood why people live in parts of the country they do, or when you buy certain things. And I get it, man. New Orleans is a great city, but man, that just sucks. It's just terrible.
And I thought I heard somebody say, and please correct me, gentlemen, if I'm wrong, are we almost like 10 or so many years since Katrina, like almost to the day?
Bro, it's not even funny. 8/29/05, 8/29/11, 8/29/19, 8/29/21. The same day, the same city and part has been hit.
Wow. And I heard today somewhere on Twitter from somebody that is in the football world. I believe he said that New Orleans is supposed to be without water for 5 days and without power for 3 weeks, from what I heard. So that's just, even though they downgraded it to a tropical storm, still really hit really hard.
Yeah.
Tropical storms still have like 90-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
but I know you're not saying that. I mean, but it's not like, getting a wet or dry vac if your basement or something floods for all that water to get out. The electricity part, of course, is always the worst. So
yeah.
So
thoughts and prayers in New Orleans.
Yeah, we just want everybody to be safe. So, gentlemen, let's get to it. It's the four of us tonight. So, I as I said before we started, as we were all going on, Mike, I knew you weren't going to miss this show because we're talking about Mr. John Shear's Miami Dolphins. But before we get to that, I just want to ask you gentlemen a question here as we start tonight on the sports arena. I would just like to get your overall thoughts on the NFL preseason, what you gentlemen feel, because it was only 3 games this year as opposed to the previous 4 games where you really start to got a feel for the starters. I know we've had several injuries. We've had several people who have been out. But overall, I would like to get everybody's thoughts on preseason. Mr. Fleming, I want to start with you on this one.
I'm mad as hell that Baltimore has a 20-game winning streak in the preseason, but J.K. Dobbins goes out. This was going to be the year that he was going to separate himself. He had an average of 6 yards a carry and was going to be the bona fide starter. That's a crushing blow for a Baltimore Ravens offense that led the league in rushing. Now you're going to have more hypocrites and haters say that Lamar Jackson's the real quarterback anyway, but, they wouldn't say that to people's face, the keyboard warriors. But thoughts and prayers go out to the Dobbins family. I'm really sick and tired of this taunting rule already. It's like when a guy does an achievement and does something major and he gets flagged for it, and instead of a first down, you got to bring it right back, or it's a first down, but you're 15 yards where you started. That garbage got to go. Very impressed with how Chicago handled Tennessee. Tennessee was trying to win that game, and Chicago was like, nope, I don't think so. And lackadaisical defense. I know it's not the number ones. I'm fully aware it's not the number ones. But Sean Wade, since we're talking about Baltimore, just recently got traded to the New England Patriots. And I'm thinking, now, why would Baltimore do that? I mean, for God, you need all the corners you can get in the AFC North. But then when I see him give up that 52-yard touchdown pass to Willis towards the end of the game, and Willis is dancing in the end zone, and I'm like, that's exactly why Baltimore traded you, punk, but you can't cover. That's what I think about preseason.
All right. John Shear, let me get you in here. Give me your thoughts, sir.
I thought it was appalling how bad Jamar Chase looked. Maybe it's because it's been 2 years since he basically played, but my gosh, did he forget how to catch a football? Yeah, it was atrocious that he can't catch a football. The Bengals, number 1, struggled against the Dolphins like number 3 and 4s. The Bengals number ones couldn't do much. That's embarrassing. Like, the Bengals offense has to be better. I know it's just preseason, but like, how do you struggle against any team's third and fourth strings, preseason or not? Like, you got to do better. That's your, if you're going to have the starters out there, there's a reason they're out there to kind of get warmed up, time to, get all the kinks out. Jamar Chase can't catch a football, the 5th overall pick. I mean, that's embarrassing. You pass on Penny Sewell for that. He'll get better, but, you can't forget how to catch a football. I mean, you're a wide receiver. You have one job. So that's embarrassing. I don't know. Looking at the rookies, I'm still not overly impressed by the whole rookie class yet. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not impressed yet. I mean, Trey Lance, I'm not impressed yet. Justin Fields has looked really good. Obviously, he's looked the best. But overall, I'm not overly impressed by this rookie class so far in the preseason. It's just preseason. But obviously, that's the big factor. And then the injuries really are just – it sucks to see because as a football fan, you just hate to see it because you want to see everybody at full strength. You want to see every team have a chance with their guys. And you never like to see a guy go down because they work so hard to get where they're at. And then to see what happened to Dobbins was just awful to watch. Like, just watch his knee like that. It's terrible. So it's just the injuries, really stuck out to me. And I know they happen every year, but still doesn't make it any easier because we all know we all work really hard in our craft, and in our field, and they work, even harder in their field. And just to see it taken away from them for at least a year and then the rehab they got to go through, it's really tough to see.
Gotcha. Mike Caratanudo, jump in there, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't expect everything crazy out of preseason. I'm just tired of everybody, or there's things I hear everybody talking out of both sides of their mouth. Last year, I don't need to get into it again. You know how much I despised the first 3 weeks of the season because it was absolute junk. I can't. Again, some of the twos, learning the depths. Some guys made some good plays. I mean, I just look at it. I take it play for play. These quarterbacks have played, didn't play. It's interesting that Matthew Stafford, to me, that's one thing I take. I mean, even not one series, not one quarter with a new team. I mean, look, we all know Sean McVay likes to keep things very close to the vest and can remember every damn thing. But that's just crazy to me. Matthew Stafford, again, not that he's not obviously a very, very, very good quarterback and has been in the league a long time, but at the same time, you got a new team. So that was interesting to me. The injuries, yeah, I mean, always suck. They can happen at any time, and they suck at any time. The fact that J.K. Dobbins, I'm with Alex on that. I mean, I don't even see why he was playing in that game. That makes no sense because he had played a little bit, and when I saw it, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I liked how some teams you see some of these offensive linemen like just develop in depth. So I mean, the few times I saw Penei Sewell, I mean, he got beat a few times, but there was a few times he reminded me why they drafted him. Some dude coming up against him just got absolutely pancaked, and he's like, "Have a good day." So at least Jared Goff can have some solace in that. And my favorite stat, and I pulled this one for Alex. The best thing of preseason proves to me who should be the starting QB in Philly because Joe Flacco had a 106.2 passer rating, and he led preseason. Sorry, I had to crack one joke. Come on. He'll be hanging out with cheesesteaks. No, but that being said, I like me. Yes, by the third game, the fourth game, the previous year is the third game now. Some of the guys are going to be on practice squad. Some guys are going to sign with other teams. I like knowing it. It's still the NFL, John. So I'll say that to you. Yes, second, third stringers. There is a difference in talent. Obviously, that's why they're at where they're at, some of these guys, but it's still the NFL. It's not other sports where you can slide by and be a pseudo stiff. So I hate the injury part of it, but unless we turn the preseason into flag football, which again, it wouldn't surprise me if they did glorified flag football. It's the crappy thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right about that, Mike. And as always, I guess I should have expected a Cowboy fan to find that one thing with Philly to make sure he got his 2 cents in. Don't worry, I got plenty of time to see your little punk behind. So, my thoughts on the preseason are I was happy that they only had 3 games. I always said it should have been 3. The starters, I will credit some of the coaches for deciding to play their starters because they really need to see what they are going to do. With regard to my team, I will say this: your last preseason game was against the Jets, and you allowed the game to be tied in order to finish 31-31. I don't need that to be a reflection of what we're going to look like this year. Shut up, Mike. But all in all, now these teams have, I think, an adequate amount of time between now and the official start of the season to really fine-tune themselves to where we're not going to get an idea of what the playbook is going to look like. Not that they showed us much during the preseason, but we are going to at least have the opportunity to maybe see some new things. And we're going to dive into a couple of those things here tonight, starting with, and John, I'm just going to get right to it, sir. I'm not going to waste any time because you love talking about this team, and I guess so does Mike. I think he's a closet fan, but my question is simply this. Is Tua time over in Miami? And my question, the reason why I'm asking this question is because by 4 p.m. tomorrow, teams have to get to their 53-man roster. And one guy in particular, by the name of Deshaun Watson, has been highly touted to be on the move to the 305. There are several teams out there. Let me finish. There are several teams out there who could benefit from him. Alex has said in previous conversations here on the Sports Arena, he has said the Carolina Panthers might be a good look for Deshaun Watson. I said if Philly had the opportunity to get Deshaun Watson, maybe they should go get him. The Denver Broncos got so many quarterbacks. One more to add to the mix. But Miami seems to be the front runner. So, John, I'm going to kick it to you first before I let Alex and Mike go all in on this one.
Well, I'll start it off then. Mr. Robinson apparently came onto a podcast, I believe today. The guy who started all this nonsense, I believe Saturday. I believe he came on a podcast and basically said that he alluded to the fact that this wasn't really, there wasn't much to this. It was more of a clickbait thing than anything, and he got what he wanted. I mean, he got his clicks, got his money out of it, but eventually basically alluded that there wasn't that much to this because what teams want out of this deal, they want protection if something happens to Watson legally, and the Texans aren't willing to waver on that. They don't want to give that up. They don't want, if something happens to Watson, then teams are going to get picks back. They don't want that. And if these teams are willing to give up 3 first-rounders and 2 seconds, which is what they're asking, then they damn well better get protection with this lingering. Now, if there's no legal stuff and you ask for that out of Watson, I'm okay with that. It's Deshaun Watson. He's 25 years old. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football. He can go down as one of the best of all time. He's that good. So if you're asking for that much and there's no legal trouble, I'm not opposed to that because he's worth all of that. I really do believe that. He's that good and he has that much. He can take you to a Super Bowl. If he was on a real team, he wasn't on a real team in Houston. He overachieved there. Let's just get that out of the way. Everybody's going to say, well, look what he did in Houston. Well, the team wasn't that good. He made them better than they were. Anyway, if he was on a real team, if he went to the Patriots, who, Bill Belichick could do a lot with him. If he went to the Packers, if he went to the Niners, teams like that can build around a guy like that, and he would do damn good. He would show you everything he's got. I mean, not that he already hasn't, but long story short, I mean, Tua Time's not over in Miami. He looked amazing this preseason. I watched a lot of the games, and he was able to step up into the pocket. His footwork was really good. That's what I wanted to see. The arm strength was really good. He was able to keep his eyes downfield and kind of do what quarterbacks are supposed to do. Not feel the pressure, but just kind of step up, do what Tom Brady does and move around the pocket until you find what you want. He did that a lot this preseason. That's exactly what I wanted to see out of him. He was confident. So, no, it's not over. There's 2 weeks to the season. Deshaun Watson needs to learn a whole new playbook, and you think Miami's just going to go out and sell it all whenever we've heard this rumor over and over and over. The only team I can see it happening is the Panthers. It makes perfect sense for the Panthers. They're a quarterback away from being able to compete right down the middle with the Bucs. I believe that team is right there. If they had a real quarterback, that's just my opinion on the Panthers. I think that organization is up and coming, but that's the only team that makes sense. And you got to give the protection of the picks with all this stuff going on. You have to. And the Texans are dumb. I mean, they're asking that much, but not giving you the protection back. Doesn't make sense.
All right, then let me go to Mr. Fleming, because Alex, you did say when we were asking this question about Deshaun Watson, you did say Carolina. You said Carolina would be the ideal fit for him. However, I want to touch on something that John said. John said, bringing Deshaun Watson in and you only have X number of days until the start of the season. Well, John, I would use those same words, but in more of a positive spin. By bringing Deshaun Watson in now and making him a part of your 53-man roster, you are now opening up the playbook. You're not asking him to go out during a preseason game and perform. You're now giving him that additional time to prepare himself.
Just remember, this isn't Madden where you could just plug a guy in. These are humans. I mean, it takes a long time to learn a new playbook.
But if you have an intelligence IQ and you are able to read and react and adapt, you might be able to make some noise. But let me go ahead and get Alex Fleming in here on this one.
I believe Watson scored well in the intelligence quotient when they did the quarterback tests. He was one of the highest one who scored, I believe. Watson's better than Tua. Hopefully we don't have to have a debate about this. We can all agree that Watson is better than Tua. This has been cooking for a while. I believe I mentioned this during the summer. Now here it is at the beginning of the season, on the forefront of the season, because we have a little bit less than 2 weeks. I'm not counting that Tampa game because that's a W for Tampa. But we have a little bit less than 2 weeks. I believe if he gets traded tomorrow to Miami, that's more than enough time for him to learn the playbook, so he'll be ready to go by week 2. I believe a package with Tua Tagovailoa, another first-round pick, and somebody on the defense would be more than enough to suffice, because Houston can't cut Deshaun. They gave him the contract. You see, that's the funny thing about contracts. If they were to cut him, they'd be void of a lot of money, and that's still on the books. And if you cut him, he can go wherever the hell he would want to go to whoever wants to sign him. So they're kind of stuck too. This has gained traction. As much as John Scherer wants to poo-poo and lollygag and not face this, this is happening. Whether it be Miami or Carolina, this is happening. And he's an upgrade at both spots. I mean, if we're not going to argue that Deshaun's better than Tua, are we really going to argue that he's better than Sam Darnold? Okay, then.
How do we know?
The legal troubles is the snafu. That's the big thing.
And again,
how do you manage that?
These are allegations. So I understand that there is a cloud hanging over his head, but it is not a dark cloud. But if you can't get protection of those picks, how are you going to give up 5 high draft picks for a guy you don't have protection of those picks and you don't know what's going to happen?
Mr. Scheer, first and foremost, they say 5. That's the asking price. Everybody wants to aim high for the only commodity they have. You look up and down that roster, they have nothing. They just got rid of J.J. Watt. He was under contract. They let him go. He's now happy in Arizona. Honey Badger left the year before because he knew what the hell was up. Clowney, that mercenary, he's now in Cleveland. That defense is basura. Offensively, you got a broken down running back that you traded DeAndre Hopkins for. You got Ingram, which, well, I'm sorry to see him leave Baltimore, but he's more than likely the starter because at least he's healthy. Phillip Lindsay, who's on his second team because Denver didn't want to keep him, and a whole myriad of running backs that are not as good as DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, he's a wide receiver for all the people in the comment section. Offensive line, meh. Quarterbacks, they got 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks. They sound like 21 Savage, when it comes to quarterbacks. They can't cut Watson. They have to trade him. And as far as the allegations and the charges, look, that's a lot of money. But we're talking about money. We're not talking about criminal time. We're not talking about 10, 15 years. We're talking about money. Yes, it's an eye stain. We're talking about money. No one's going to prison. So if I'm Miami or Carolina, pull the trigger.
All right. So then, Mike, let me go to you. Is the trigger pulled tomorrow? Is Tua time over in Miami? And more importantly, Deshaun Watson, if you're the guy right now making the final decision, Carolina, or Miami, where is Deshaun Watson tomorrow at 4:01 p.m.?
If they get the protections on the picks, I can see him going to Miami. That's my short of it. The long of it is I'm tired of Sam Darnold can make every throw, and he has. And I watched his pro day. I went to his pro day at USC. Back then, he can make every throw that Deshaun Watson makes. I'm not saying he's faster. I'm not saying he's more of an athlete, but Sam Darnold gets short on a stick. Fine. If Carolina wants to get rid of him after seeing him for barely a preseason and another offensive coordinator and another new scheme, go ahead. But the perfect spot, and I thought when Eric said this in the beginning with Philly, I thought that actually would have been a great spot. Do you realize the one team that I thought would be phenomenal to trade for him, and it would drive me crazy because of their defense is so amazing, would be the Washington football team. But that's the last team that could trade for him because of these allegations. And Alex, I'm with you. They're allegations, nonetheless, with the stain that that franchise has on how they've handled things. If they traded for him, it looks bad. And look, we've all said from the beginning, if Deshaun Watson it is about money because they're going civil, there's no criminal. If somebody does end up doing criminal, he's guilty, then yeah, Deshaun Watson should be suspended for a year. And that's that.
But there is going to be a suspension at some point by Goodell. I mean, he always suspends people for these conduct detrimental or whatever, any of those things. He always ends up giving you some sort of suspension. He's not on the
exempt list. He's still not on the exempt list, and he's had this whole time to do it. So, yes, is the suspension coming? Obviously, it's civil. He's going to lose money. We all agree on that. I mean, everybody can see that. If he did do it and he's paying, I mean, inevitably you could say, well, why are you paying if you're not admitting guilt? People are like, well, the person's status. No, if the person's innocent, forget everybody else. You're not going to get your money, but it would take 5 years to get through this trial. So again, it comes down to time, his profession, and everything. As for going to Miami, yeah, Tua looked better. He did get pulled for games last year, as much as I razz you for Fitzpatrick. But I would still take Deshaun Watson over Tua in that aspect, 100%. But if by tomorrow the trade doesn't happen, and again, and that's what, Alex, you said my point from the beginning, everybody throws out a number and a thing. It's a damn negotiation. Of course you start high. If you start low, another team's going to come in and offer even less. So they start high and crazy. But yes, there does need to be protection. If on the Texans, you get rid of them, you break free. You can't be, again, you're right, Alex, because they have to pay him, but they can't sit there and get nothing for it. They can't be like, here's a second, a fourth, and a sixth, and we'll send you. If Miami said here's a 2, a 4, and a 6, and Tua, people are going to be like, what did the Texans just do? Like, they're garbage, like you said, but what did they just do? So, look, I would say if Houston is going to pull the trigger on it, that Tua would be gone, and I'm with you. 10 days, he's smart enough to get at least where he would be.
Well, what if Miami keeps Tua?
There's no way they're.
Well, why not?
Houston's stupid enough to. Okay, Houston might be dumb.
Hear
me
out. If you're Miami and you keep Tua, hold on, and you trade for Watson. If something happens to Watson next year, you still have Tua.
Yeah,
so you don't got to worry about the legal stuff.
Houston could be stupid all they want. They're not getting a number one quarterback in return. It's not
John, you get a come on man for that.
Yeah, come on.
I'm serious because
hold on.
Because
I would love for you to be a general manager then. I would love for you to be a general manager.
If you give him 3 firsts and 2 seconds and you keep Tua, that's your protection. No. You don't got to worry about the protection of the picks because then if something happens to Watson, you still have Tua in your back pocket. And then if Watson is free of the charges, you can go and trade Tua next year and get something out of him because he's still young. He's still on his rookie deal.
John, while I like your concept.
You know what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. And while I like your concept, I'm able to vibe with you a little bit on this. However, Houston is just asking for way too much for the expectation and the assumption to pretty much be if Deshaun Watson is coming to Miami, then Tua Tagovailoa is going to Houston. That's first on the docket. It won't be as straight up easy as that. There will be more picks and stuff like that. But if I'm, to Mike's point, yeah, I would, if you were that general manager, bruh, that would be amazing. But we all know in the NFL, it just does not go down like that. It just does not go down like that. Would we like it to happen? Yes. Yeah. It's not out of the realm of impossibility.
Well, the Houston Texans have to budge eventually, and they're not budging. This isn't a normal team trading. This is different. This is a weird scenario. They're not budging on the picks. They're not budging.
But they don't have to budge.
Trading, but they have.
They can just sit. No, they don't. They can just sit there and pay him and pay the contract out like idiots if they want. So they don't technically have to budge. You're going to have this
circus follow you around your entire organization over and over, week after week, day after day.
Hey, John.
They don't have to do it, though.
It's like the Cowboys. They're just looking for exposure.
Here we go.
That's exactly what it is.
Hey, Mike, John, before y'all get into your little tit for tat, it's already a circus. It was a circus when you traded away DeAndre Hopkins for a broken down running back and the money that you paid Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks to keep DeAndre Hopkins. It was already a circus when you had J.J. Watt under contract for one more year. It was already a circus when you had J.J. Watt, who was still under contract, and you released him because you wanted him to go to greener pastures. It was already a circus when you hired another general manager from New England and kept Deshaun Watson, who's the face of your franchise, out of all negotiations and talks. And it was damn sure a circus when you hired David Culley, 2014 wide receivers coach. That Kansas City team scored no touchdowns from the wide receivers. And you know what? Last year, Baltimore Ravens wide receivers coach. Guess what? Lamar Jackson had his lowest output passing the ball. That was year 3. So you'll already have a circus.
But you got to start over somewhere and wipe your hands clean eventually.
Right.
You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? Like eventually you got to do that.
Yes.
Alex,
at some point you do. Mike, I'm going to give you the final word, and then we have to move on.
I'll see you that whole circus thing, Alex, and I'll raise you when one of the best receivers to ever play, one of the quietest people who just did his thing, Andre Johnson, ripped the organization in the most civil way you could. You didn't think he was ripping it until you understood what he said. Go back and you can find you guys can all find it. If you heard him talk about it, I'm like, wait, did he just? And I had to rewind it when I was watching. He ripped them in the most civil way you could. So it's been a circus for a long time. John, to your point, if they're not giving up 2 of those, lastly, instead of 3, you're giving up 4 firsts, a second, and they get Deshaun Watson and they keep Tua. If I'm Miami and you're not giving up, or if I'm Houston and you're not doing that, because that general manager should be fired on the spot if you don't get the quarterback in return.
Have you seen the trades the Texans made before with Hopkins?
That was Bill O'Brien.
Tunsil trade.
That was Bill O'Brien.
All right, gentlemen.
Don't get me started on Bill O'Brien.
We're not going to go there. We're going to put a pin in that. This conversation is far from over. Decisions will be made hopefully tomorrow by 4 p.m. Eastern, and we will find out if, in fact, Tua time is over in Miami. When we come back, we're going to talk more about another quarterback who may have lost his starting job due to decisions and misunderstandings. More with Mike, Alex, John, and myself on the Sports Arena in just a moment.
Generations Physical Therapy has been the Tri-State's leader in physical therapy services for over 20 years. And now we have a convenient location right in the heart of the capital city of Charleston, just off I-64. With convenient parking and flexible hours, your access to physical therapy is second to none. Plus, Snap Fitness is also in sight with 2 floors of gym equipment and sports enhancement training through A-Game Sports Performance. So whether you're needing hands-on physical therapy or looking to get results in our gym, our family's ready to help yours. Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness. Multiple services, multiple locations. Experience you can count on.
And welcome back here into the sports arena on a Wednesday night. You got your man Eric Wilson alongside Fox Sports 1340 AM, John Shear, NSPN and Florida Sun's Alex Fleming, and Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, Mr. Mike Carrot-Tenuto, and of course ASU Sun Devil. Thank God he's got that hat on because the other hat needs to be burned.
Herm said hi.
Tell Herm I said what's up. Tell him we got to get him on the show, man. I want Herm Edwards on the sports arena.
I'll probably wait until after the season for that, man.
All right, fair enough. We got that done. All right, let's keep it going here, gentlemen. My next topic that I want to discuss with you tonight, like I said, another quarterback who, based on misunderstanding with regards to what the protocol is for COVID-19 with regards to the NFL, and then also him missing time, I have to ask this question. Is Cam Newton no longer the QB1, even though Belichick has not made it official? What we've seen from Mac Jones and the fact that he has been there this entire preseason, has Cam lost his job? John Shear.
I don't think so. I think Belichick's been around long enough to know that you have to ride with the veteran as long as you can. That's Bill Belichick's old school, so he's going to ride with the veteran. He's going to make the rookie learn. He's going to make him sit on the sideline and get his lumps when it comes to not getting to play, because that's hard for young kids now to not get to play. They want to play. They want to be thrown right in. But he's going to make him learn. He's going to make him watch. And that's Belichick's way. So Cam Newton's the guy until he loses the job by his play, which he was terrible last year. He ain't going anywhere. Belichick loves him. I never would have thought Belichick would love a mobile quarterback like he loves Cam Newton. He loves this. It's the opposite of Tom Brady, which Brady did everything for him. 6 Super Bowls, they did everything together. But he never had a mobile quarterback. Brady was a statue. Newton can move. As much as he's broken now, he can still move a lot better than Brady. So he absolutely loves Newton. So he's not going anywhere for the job.
All right. Mike Carrot-Tenuto?
Yeah, it's Belichick. He's not going to announce a starter, and coaches don't have to. Eric, you and I have talked about this before. You want to have my radio show?
Okay, hold on, Mike. This isn't about him announcing it. I'm asking based on what we've seen this preseason, has Cam lost his job?
No, I don't think he has. And I get the whole, like you said, misunderstanding the whole COVID thing. He had it last year. It affected him. But to that, no. Because like everybody says, so Mac Jones has looked good. Yes, he's had series and plays and drives where he has looked good when I've seen him. But still rookie quarterback, still playing against 2s, 3s, guys that are going to be cut, guys that are going to be on practice squad. So again, if everybody's going to talk out of both sides of their mouth, no, Cam Newton is a starter. I think his play, we kind of touched on this a little bit last week. I think his play will be a lot better. Before he got COVID, that first part of the season, his play was pretty, he was running the ball, but he was getting the ball out when he could. His play was pretty sick. They should have had that win in Seattle. That was right there. That being said, with everybody that they've gotten back on defense, and again, Cam's back. He's there. He's going to be a solid mentor for Mac Jones. Mac Jones isn't ready to start because then you almost turn them into, I guess, a Washington football team, a great defense, and then you're going to put a rookie quarterback in who's going to make those mistakes, especially when you see defenses like Buffalo's, Kansas City, Buffalo's. Tampa. Well, yeah, they do. Do they play? Oh, they do play Tampa. Yeah, when they see those defense week 4 in Foxborough.
Yep.
So when I don't see Mac Jones starting. I like what he's done. I don't see him starting. It's Cam's job.
All right, Alex Fleming.
Captain America might save us all. Captain America might just save us all. If you told me that you had an injured quarterback who was a former MVP who threw 13 touchdowns or threw and ran for 13 touchdowns and had 11 interceptions, were missing 8 key players on defense, had a banged up offensive line, no tight end to turn to, and an aging Julian Edelman with a half-ass running game, and you went 7-9? Guys, yes, this is an overreaction. And this is a major overreaction because the last thing you want to do is have a rookie quarterback by the name of Mac Jones, who's this Alabama Crimson Tide championship quarterback, get his ass waxed week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. Look, all of us on this panel know that Cam Newton's time is running out. But Cam's a vet. Cam's been there and done that. Cam's savvy. Cam showed you next to nothing in the preseason. He doesn't have a Liz Frank injury. His shoulder injury has healed. He knows the playbook, and it's the second year in the system. Mac can wait. Mac's the future. Mac can and will wait. And very similar to Sam, a.k.a. Falcon, who's Captain America, people doubted him. He doesn't deserve to have the shield. He doesn't deserve to wear the Puerto Rico colors. Cam Newton was there during COVID. He didn't have half his defense. He didn't have a lot of weapons. Oh, what a difference a year makes. Asiasi isn't even the starting tight end. It's Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. His wide receivers are young, fresh, raw, and black. Running game. J.J. Taylor. Ramondre Stevenson. Still got James White and Damian Harris. So everything he didn't have last year, he has this year. Until he blows it. This is Cam Newton's spot. Hopefully I don't have to say nothing else about it.
All right. I have to ask the question because based on what I saw in preseason again and watching the success that Mac Jones was able to do, I mean, we cannot ignore his ability to thread the needle at a very young age. I have to factor in that, again, Cam was not there for the entire preseason. He may have only missed 5-7 days, whatever it was, but you are still missing ample time to develop, as you say, Mr. Fleming, that synchronicity with your starting line, the protection, the reads, the ability to find the open man, the ability to call an audible at the line of scrimmage if necessary. Those were days that Mac Jones had that opportunity where Cam did not. But to John's point, you're absolutely right. Bill Belichick is in, I won't say he's amazed and astounded by Cam Newton, but he's got a lot of love for that young man based on his work ethic. And listen, Cam's not young, might as well see the imagination. He's younger than me, of course, but coming in and being the complete, think about it like this. You had the same setup for 20 years, and it proved to bear so much fruit for you that there was a phrase that was coined at one point in time by the late, great NFL film gentleman, Steve, and I forget his last name. He said...
Sable. Steve Sable.
Thank you, Steve Sable. He used to say, there are 31 teams in the NFL, and then there's the New England Patriots. So you know what I mean? It's one of those things where we have watched the greatness of Belichick, but to go from what he had and now to what he currently has with him, for Cam not to be a part of that for the whole entire time opens the door for a young man who has similar traits to Tom Brady, a familiarity, if you will, of what Tom Brady was like back in 2000 and 2001. Bill might look at that and say, well, it worked for me for 20 years. Why would I not want another 20?
Because he's not ready for that smoke.
Okay.
This is Buffalo's division. I don't give a damn what Miami, the Jets, or the Patriots have to say. This is Buffalo's division.
Go ahead, John.
The only similarities between Mac and Tom Brady are there's pictures of them both being out of shape at a young age. That's the only similarities.
Hey, Mac Jones's nickname is Mac and Cheese. You can't start on that nickname alone. Like, you should be benched for that. Mac and Cheese. Really? That's what they're gonna go with? You gotta be kidding me.
Well, they have one more similarity. Neither of them want to meet or see Obama, but I mean, that's different.
We're going to move on from that. Thank you very much. To my last topic here tonight on the Sports Arena. And again, to Alex, John, and Mike, thank you so much for joining me. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, has a very interesting, how do I phrase this properly? I don't want to call it a situation. I don't want to call it an obstacle. but he is in a very unique spot, if you will, because between Jimmy Garoppolo, who when he plays has more wins than losses and is very capable of being a starting quarterback for any team in the NFL, the issue is his health and being able to last a full season. And then you've got a guy in Trey Lance, who you went up and drafted third in this year's draft, and who has promise. So, will Kyle Shanahan run two quarterbacks this season to confuse defenses, being that he has two strong, well, I won't say durable, but talented men at the quarterback spot? Alex Fleming.
I like this question because unlike the New England one, you have a guy who's actually losing his talent, who might lose his starting position when he messes up. This is different. Garoppolo, 50-50 on the deep ball, but people are afraid of him throwing. And he's excellent when he hands the ball off, because we saw what happened the year they went to the Super Bowl against Kansas City. They were very good against the run, and they were very good running the ball. When
you can say game manager, it's okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you. When healthy, this shouldn't be a quarterback competition, but that's the problem. Jimmy G's been in more California videos that only last an hour than he's been on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. I think Kyle Shanahan is trying to let people know that they have a different dynamic for both quarterbacks, and you're going to see both quarterbacks depending on the situation and who they play. If I'm playing Seattle, yeah, I might switch them in and out just to keep the Seattle defense off base, because that defense isn't that good. We know about the offense. Leave the offense the hell alone. That defense can get got, though. If you're playing the Rams, I'd rather play Garoppolo and have special packages for Trey Lance. So when you think he's running, he's actually throwing 80-yard bullets. I think Shanahan realizes that he has weapons at the quarterback position, and if he can interchangeably move them in and out like a chess game, it might behoove them to use both quarterbacks this season. Jimmy Garoppolo's the starter. He's the starter. He's the number one. But until he, A, gets injured, B, falls off, or C, decides to marry a porn star and quit football, it's his position to lose. Trey Lance is the future, but he hasn't seen football for about a year as well, and he's just now getting acclimated. Do you remember the first game he played? 5 of 14, one good pass, and he was garbage the rest of the way. Let's see how much the progression of him plays during the regular season till about week 7, week 8. I don't expect to see Trey Lance week 1, week 2, a little bit in week 3, and then the chunk will get bigger. But as of now, he's just letting people know, hey, pay attention. I'm going to play a 2-quarterback system, and it's going to work.
All right. John Shear.
Well, first of all, you're not going to see him week 1 because he has a chip in his finger, so he's hurt. So you're not going to see Trey Lance week 1. There's that. Kyle Shanahan was asked about this, and he said, you guys are going to keep asking me this. And he said, I'm not going to give you the answer just to please you guys. We're going to go through our progressions, our due diligence. We're going to go through all that. We're going to do it our way. We're not going to answer. I'm not going to answer you just because that's what you want. He was polite about it, but he basically said, I'm not going to tell you guys the answer just because you keep asking, which is fair. But Jimmy Garoppolo's the guy. And I think they're going to do what the Eagles kind of tried to do a little bit with Jalen Hurts last year and kind of give him a little bit of packages just so he gets his feet wet in game action here and there, just so they get him in, maybe hope that he breaks off a big play or something like that. And they'll just, like you said, Alex, kind of ease him in as the season goes along. Garoppolo is more than capable. The game manager, we saw him help get the Niners to the Super Bowl with his game managing style. They play really good defense. They run the ball. They have a fantastic tight end. Now they have weapons even better than they did when they got to the Super Bowl. Their weapons have gotten even better, if that's possible. So, yeah, he has to make a couple plays here and there, play action. He's really good at play action. They run the ball well, play defense, and they can compete with any team. Garoppolo just has to not turn the ball over. That's all he has to do until it's Trey Lance's turn, which you really don't have to rush it because Garoppolo can do what I just explained, and the Niners will be perfectly fine against anybody. Look what they did against Green Bay. conference championship. They waxed them with a game manager against Aaron Rodgers. That team is built where you don't have to have that much at the quarterback position. Just don't turn it over.
Mike, you're shaking your head as usual, my brother, whenever John Shear speaks. So
no,
go ahead,
it's not
sir.
John. It's everybody that says an NFL quarterback is a game manager, and none of us have ever played NFL quarterback. The last time I played quarterback was senior year in high school, and it's an NFL quarterback. They're all game managers, and guess what? Kurt Warner even said it. But I know everybody knows more than Kurt Warner. Every quarterback is a system quarterback, by the way, because every coach has a system, and they grab a quarterback that they can run their system. So if everybody wants to go argue with Kurt Warner, hit him up on Twitter and prove why you're right and he's not. I'll side with Kurt Warner, the quarterback. As for Kyle Shanahan, I was flipping through Bay Area radio, and one of their beat reporters, he was asked, like, even before the first preseason game there, if there would be packages for Trey Lance, because the reporters, whoever the reporter was, said, I'm not going to ask who the starter is, because Kyle Shanahan's like, there's no need to talk about this right now.
Right.
But he said in this same thing, the one reporter asked, could there be, and he's like, Trey's got a grip on some stuff. He goes, we come along, we can spoon feed him. It's not like he's just going to go out there and run every play. He might throw some passes. It might be a package. He goes, it could be a package. We'll see what happens. We'll see how he develops. So again, Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm with you on the deep ball. When he's healthy, he can move an offense. The guy, I mean, he torched the Cardinals defense for his first start when the Cardinals defense actually wasn't that bad. I know it was week 1 of the season, but he came here to Phoenix and ended up kind of torching the defense. They ran the ball decently. Yes, as we know, they played defense too, but he moved the ball around. Then he got banged up, and Jacoby Brissett came in for one game and looked decent, and then Garoppolo went back in, and the rest is history from there. I'm not going to say it's just to me, they're all game managers, because if any of them turn over the ball, guess what? They didn't manage the game well. It's not rocket science when you hear coaches talk. Herm Edwards talking today. Well, if we turn the ball over, I don't care who you play, you're losing. Talking to about, because it's just a fact. So Garoppolo's a starter. Trey Lance will have series and plays, and plus they said he'll probably be back in practice Monday. So with the thumb, I mean, the only thing he said is he's hopeful that Lance will be back in practice on Monday. So I think week 1 or not, maybe week 1, but there'll be packages for Lance throughout the season.
Michael, they're playing Detroit. They don't need Trey Lance. He's not playing against Detroit. He shouldn't even suit up.
They don't need him for the.
Hey, Detroit might shock you. Hey, Detroit in the beginning of the season always keeps things close. My friend from Detroit sends me all this junk because they're so terrible. But in the beginning, the first month of the season is where they've actually had their best outputs, either in winning or keeping better teams close. I'm just saying, it's week 1. It'll be sloppy.
I just got to ask, who's going to keep up with Kittle on that defense? That's what I got to ask. Like, if Kittle wants to go for 200 yards, Kittle's going to go for 200 yards against that defense.
And the Detroit Lions cut Brashard Perryman. If you get cut from Detroit Lot, you really don't belong in the NFL. That's just sad.
So you mean he can't go to Vegas? I mean,
if you get cut from
go to your favorite team, he can go to Cleveland. I mean,
No, Cleveland's roster is better than Brashard Perriman. I remember when Brashard Perriman was a Tampa Bay Buck and he was running into teammates. Okay.
I remember when the Ravens spent a first-round pick on the guy.
Listen, I have to agree with Mike, though. Detroit will surprise a lot of people in the month of September. So,
Look, I know we're not all sold on Jared Goff, and with Sean McVay, he went to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff can make throws. Sean McVay, maybe they didn't have the best game plan. Todd Gurley being banged up. Another thing, Jared Goff will make plays. Whether the Lions protect him or not and can run the ball,
Mike,
that's a whole different story.
Mike, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Not DeAndre Swift, not TJ Hawkinson. Name me 2 wide receivers from that squad, bro.
I don't watch any Detroit this preseason. I don't know. I just know that Jared Goff will make plays, and at some point they'll catch a break and they'll win. Hey, I just want them to beat the Packers twice this year. That would be they go 2-15.
Don't expect Detroit to do it. Don't expect Detroit to do it.
I don't, but I'm saying if they went 2-15 and beat the Packers twice,
and maybe they'll beat the Bears with Andy Dalton.
Possibility. Hey, real quick, I want to shout out to our man, John Mizak. He's asking a question. Did we hear about Malcolm Butler thinking about retiring?
Oh, yeah, that came out of here in Arizona today. It hit Twitter about – I literally hit Twitter about 5 o'clock, and he's been away from the team. I didn't even realize because, I mean, their game got canceled, as we all know, against the Saints because of the hurricane, which obviously makes sense. But he hasn't even been in practice or around the team for – they said now it'll be a week. And no details came out. His agent had just said he's away from the team. I was on my friend's show earlier. I mean, hope obviously from a personal standpoint, I hope he's okay. Cardinals, hope him, his family, whatever, like it works out and he's okay. But for the Cardinals, I mean, look, Patrick Peterson, Cardinals fans are a little fed up with him. But I'm like, corners don't just grow on trees. You actually signed a guy like Malcolm Butler that can play, that can cover. He's right there. And now he might be gone. I mean, the one thing it could do, though, because everybody's been harsh on Isaiah Simmons, which he has been getting better at the backer spot, they could start lining him up as like Clemson did as a slot corner. Now, he's not going outside. Nickel. Yeah, he ain't going outside. I'm not saying because Isaiah Simmons I'm not saying he's slow, but he sure as hell ain't running with guys outside every week. But you line him up outside, he's got the athleticism to play those tight ends, to play those slot receivers coming across, but it changes the defense. So now they need
Michael, I'm glad you mentioned that because when Eric and I were at the 2020 Combine, I got to speak with Mr. Simmons. He played safety, nickel, a little bit of corner, outside and inside linebacker. He's faster than Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. He was a rookie last year. He took his bumps and bruises. And now that they got the Tulsa linebacker to be Mike, he could play freely and interchangeably. I think that's an excellent idea.
I mean, again, we're going to have to see what happens, but yeah, I love that Isaiah Simmons pick last year when the Giants didn't take him. I'm like, he's coming. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, you got to be able to cover the tight end position with George Kittle there in the West. So
yeah, he can run with the tight end. Kittle's not slow, obviously, but he can run with tight end.
He can run with Kittle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to cover that.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time as always. We'll be back on Wednesday, and I believe the whole crew will be with us as we get more into this NFL season. I know at some point we're going to have to talk a little NBA, and I'll have to listen to the Say What, Say It Again crew laugh at me for saying that Milwaukee would not make the playoffs. But Mr. Fleming, go ahead, sir.
I want to give a shout out to NFC South fans on Facebook and NFC South fans Trash Talk. We talk a lot of garbage in that Trash Talk group, but we're all family. Shout out, thoughts and prayers of New Orleans. Look, I'm a Tampa Bay Buck fan through and through, and I cover and I report on them. But real talk, anything that New Orleans can do that we can provide or help with, we're here for you. There's times that we could joke around. This isn't one of those times. Thoughts and prayers with New Orleans. Get back on top. I want to beat you at 100%. Not like this.
It's bigger than sports.
It is. And that's why we take a moment both at the beginning and the end of the show to make sure we recognize that, this is a sports show. And again, we joke, we kid, we do what we do. But in times like this, it's times that we need to come together and truly be there for our brothers and sisters who need us. So from Mike Carratanudo, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, John Shear, Fox Sports 1340 AM, and Alex Fleming, Florida Sun, and the NSPN, your man Eric Wilson for the Sports Arena. We will see you guys on Wednesday night. Everyone have a good evening. See ya.